And gentlemen, we're excited to welcome the #2 player in the world, Dustin Johnson, to the interview room today. Dustin, thank you for taking a moment out of your day to spend some time with us, especially since you've had a rain-shortened practice session today. With your victory at the WGC Mexico Championship, you became the 5th player in 50 years to reach 20 career wins before the age of 35, joining some pretty elite company. What does this mean personally to you to reach such a milestone at this stage of your career? And have you allowed yourself to reflect upon that achievement?
Yeah, getting one win out on the PGA Tour is very tough. But, so to say I have 20, it's a big accomplishment. And, I'm very proud of myself for that. But, yeah, I haven't had too much time to sit back and reflect on it. We got a busy year and, a lot of big tournaments, including, this one right here that we're playing this week. So, I try to always stay focused on what I got to do.
Good. Well, speaking of this tournament, you finished the top 10 in each of the past 3 appearances at the Masters. What do you feel needs to happen for you to be in contention and make a run on Sunday?
Well, this week it's gonna, no different than any week for me, but it's I'm gonna have to do everything well if I want to have a chance to win on Sunday. I feel like the game's in very good form right now. For me, it's all going to be up to my putting. If I can putt well this week, these greens, I like these greens. They got a lot of slope in them. It's greens that I like to see the ball breaking. So it's something that I really like out here. I'm comfortable on the greens, and if I can roll it well, I think I'll be right there come Sunday.
Good. Love to open it up to questions. Anyone has any questions for Dustin? Please.
One tee shot that gives you trouble here, and why? None of them is not a good answer here.
I think all the tee shots are, for me, I think seven's a difficult tee ball. And I don't know, it seems like 17 keeps on getting harder and harder every year too. But 7 and 17 are ones just because there's not a whole lot of room to start the ball. So if you have any kind of curve, and especially I don't curve it right to left. So it's, I don't have much room to start it there.
Tara?
All right, Dustin, this is a little off the beaten path, but I wanted to ask about the head cover, the black lab that you've had in your bag. Sometimes just what you think about the company that makes them, if they're good, cute, what reaction you get to them with fans, whatever.
Yeah, the head cover, they make very nice head covers. And yeah, she's made me a couple of them, and I like them.
Dustin, you're playing with Bryson Thursday and Friday. What do you make of all the calculations he puts into his shots?
It works for him. I don't even try to understand all of them. Yeah, so.
Have you ever played with him before?
I've played with him quite a few times.
What's it like to, obviously you're not over his shoulder, but what's it like to watch him go through all that?
It takes a long time.
What are the calculations you make before each shot?
I probably just about the same as most guys, but I get the number to the front, the number to the flag, and how far I want to hit my shot, and then if I need to adjust for any wind, I do that. But no math calculations really. I don't need a calculator.
Sam?
Yeah, hello. Golf's one of the most up and down games for most players over the years. You've actually been one of the most consistent ones. Just look at Rory's on a really good upswing right now. Jordan's trying to regain the form he's had. How does the game humble you, and how does it change you over the course of a long career? And how can you speak to maybe where you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and what you've learned to stay consistent?
Yeah, it's a very difficult game to stay consistent at. I work my butt off to try to, to stay consistent, in the gym, on the course. It's tough. one day you can go out and hit every shot how you want to, and the next day you come on the range and you got no idea what's going on. I can't explain it. I try to do things, the same all the time so that I can feel the same on the golf course every day, but it just doesn't always work like that. It's, but that's one reason why I love this game is it's very difficult and you'll never master it.
Gary?
DJ, all the rain softening the course, making it play a little bit longer. Does that play into your game, or would you prefer it to be firm and fast?
I mean, I've played the course, all different ways. It doesn't matter. If you play good, you're going to shoot a good score, whether it's firm and fast or if it's soft. You still got to hit really good golf shots. I feel like it plays pretty similar. Obviously, when it's really firm and fast and there's some wind, it makes it very difficult. But, it's, because the greens get, very tricky. With it a little softer, though, you have longer clubs in, but, you can hold the greens a little bit easier. So, there's a fine line of, if it's real soft, it's still going to play fairly difficult because it's so long.
Is there one way that you prefer personally?
No, I don't really prefer either way.
Dustin, all the strength training and cardio that you do and a lot of other guys do, but in your case, is it something that you just feel, is it something you enjoy or something that's a necessity or a combination of those two things?
I've started to enjoy it at first, for a while I didn't. I'd just kind of be off and on with it. I'd be consistent for a while and then I'd, might take a month or two off and then, then I'd get back into it. But I just saw that the results of me playing and my game stayed more consistent when I was more consistent with my training and, not just lifting weights, but, just going through everything, working, stretching and doing all the little things that I need to do. I just saw it, transfer into the golf game.
Dustin, you mentioned earlier that you feel that putting is probably the most important part of your game heading into this week. I'm just curious, what would you say is the greatest putting week you've ever had, and what's your confidence level with your putter heading into this week?
I've been putting well this year, so I have confidence with the putter. Just, it kind of probably not as much as I do in the rest of the game, day in and day out, just because some days, the hole looks like the size of a 5-gallon bucket. Some days it looks like the golf ball is bigger than the hole. So, it just all depends. And then the best putting week I've ever had probably was at the BMW at Crooked Stick. Would probably
Won
be.
that week, right?
I did. And I didn't hit it that good. I just made everything I looked at.
Dustin, I was wondering what part of your game feels best right now?
It all feels pretty good. It's, for me, it's, the biggest part of my game is going to be short game. If my short game's really good, especially around here, you have to chip and putt it well. If you chip and putt it well, you're gonna have a good week.
Completely unrelated to that, I was wondering if you watched the drive, chip, and putt with Tatum, if he's getting to an age where he's interested at all in playing.
I think he's still a little too young, but hopefully he'll be interested, and I'll get to come out and watch him play it.
Dustin, everybody has a different personality on tour. You seem to be a little drier and more reserved than some of the other players. In what ways would you say that you're misunderstood?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think I try to be myself most of the time. And I don't really think I'm misunderstood.
Dustin, have you In the years since Patrick Reed won here for his first major title, have you noticed, ever been around him? Has that changed him at all, or way he approaches the game, or as a person?
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I see Patrick most weeks out here, so, and then, you know, I've been on a few teams with him. He doesn't seem like he's any different.
PJ, going back to the head cover, does it have a name?
Charlie, it's the name of I have a Labradoodle named Charlie, so that's what it's based off of.
Dustin, I wonder what you think of Brooks's 1,800 calorie a day diet, and if you've ever thought of doing something like that.
No, I've never counted calories. If I'm hungry, I eat until I'm not hungry anymore, and then I stop.
Sounds like a good program.
Yeah.
Please.
I also wanted to ask about Patrick. If you could take one trait of his, what would it be?
Like, what do you mean?
Either
In his golf game, or?
either the game or the way he approaches it. And
His chipping, he's a really good chipper.
what about from a personality standpoint? Is there anything that appeals to you?
That I would want? I like my personality. I'm okay.
You would take from you?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
We've established about your diet and your personality. Is there anything else, Dustin, you'd like to add?
I want to ask you one more. Are you, to be at this stage in your career, are you disappointed to have won only one major? And if you're not disappointed, what would be a better word?
I mean, yeah, I would have definitely liked to won a couple more. You know, I've had some very good opportunities that I didn't capitalize on. So I don't know, disappointed or frustrated, you know, one of those would be okay to describe that. But I mean, it's golf. This game is very frustrating and disappointing at times, but I think I'm happy with my career so far. I definitely think it could have been better, but you know, hopefully still got a lot of time left in my career.
Rory has talked a lot about a difference between, you know, needing to win, specifically for him, this Masters, and wanting to win, saying that he wants to win majors, but he doesn't feel like he necessarily needs to define who he is. Have you ever thought about the difference between the two? Like when you come to any of the majors, do you feel any need that I've got to win this week, or is it just strictly that I want to?
Yeah, it's more want. I mean, if you're telling yourself you need to win, I think you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. I mean, if you talk to any of the top players, they all want to win. Everyone that's out here wants to win, and you know, I think that's there's definitely a difference. For me, I want to win every week, but I don't need to win. So it's definitely, I think it's you put more pressure on yourself if you're saying you need to win. I think.
I've been caught in that position over any time in your career where you felt like you were wanting something too much, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I've definitely done that. You know, almost trying too hard.
Where?
I think I do that, quite a bit. Sometimes I try too hard. You probably won't know it, but.
Trying too hard right now?
Yes, you're making me think way too hard.
Tim?
Dustin, what's the most you've hit into the new fifth hole in your practice rounds, either last week or this week? And what's your take on the redesign of it?
The fifth hole?
The fifth hole, yeah.
I thought it was a hard hole before. They just made it a little bit tougher. It's the green is a little bit less severe, but you're coming in with a much longer iron. So it's
what kind of clubs?
I played it yesterday. The pin was on the front right. I hit 7-iron in, but I played it last Wednesday and Thursday, and the pin was back both days, and I hit 4-iron both times. So, it was a little into the wind, and pin was all the way back right. It was, it's a long golf hole.
How close are you now to being on the same type of form you were in 17 coming in here, and how much of that do you think about or look back upon?
I definitely look back at it a lot. I've got, I've got videos of my swing from when I was here in 17, and so I watch those a lot to try to, just to get some of those same feels. And I feel like the game it's close. It's not as good as it was then, but I feel like it's going in the right direction.
Dustin, even before you started working out a lot, you brought a real athleticism to the Pro Tour. How much do you think yourself and Brooks Koepka, as an example, have influenced players coming behind you that golfers can be athletes, and it's just part of the deal now?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think I'm a big influencer, but and for the younger kids, if you see them all that are coming out nowadays, they're all taller, stronger. They hit it far. I mean, pretty much all the young kids do. And, so I think it's great. I just think that's where the game of golf is going. It's, I think Tiger is a big part of that, though. He kind of made golf, cool, and a cool sport to play. And, because even when I was in high school growing up, or when I first started playing, it wasn't, just where I grew up. Maybe it was just where I grew up, but it wasn't just, wasn't a cool sport to play, where now I think, it gets a lot more notoriety, and you see a lot more kids playing, and, and it's, and it's looked at more as a sport. But I think that's a lot to do with, all the guys that are playing the game now. There are a lot more athletes playing.
One more question, if there is one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have one more question before you go? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.